is right. Amen?
Amen.
Right. So I'm about to introduce a very special woman in our island of Tobago. Continues to be a beacon of light in many areas for various things. I want to introduce to you, put before a platform, Dr. Faith B. Israel, who is a social scientist whose focus is in health, education, program development, and implementation. She is the chairperson of Imani Bestnet Foundation, an NGO that provides health and wellness opportunities for special communities. It includes the Uzazi support group for families dealing with fertility issues and the Living Positively subcommittee, which provides HIV prevention services and a support group for individuals infected and affected by HIV. She's also very active with various youth-focused organizations in her community. She has also delved into active politics in an effort to continue impacting the social needs of our community. She currently serves as the Minority Councillor of the Tobago House of Assembly. I cannot ask you but to stand and let us welcome in our midst the very esteemed and well recognized and so deserving Dr. Faith B. Israel.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. I am so happy there are so many children here today. Special good evening to the, what time is it? Yeah. It is evening, yes. Special good evening to Queen Esther, mama of our special guest, and a special good evening to Miss Nodia. Because we are already a little bit behind, I'm going to be very quick, but I want all of you to recognize one very important thing. Miss Nodia, could you please stand? Nodia. She looks like us. And I need for every single one of us to start there. She is one of us. We frequently think that authors are supposed to be these people from these far places that do these different things, that look different, that eat differently, that live differently, but no. She is one of us. And I want each and every one of you, the little ones, to recognize that we have greatness within us. We have greatness above, below, behind, in front, around, in between all of us. And there is nothing that we cannot do. So we're starting there. I would also like us to recognize that we all go through stages in life. We all go through stages where we do not succeed at every single thing that we do. As a matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, we make mistakes or we fail. If you listen to many of the most successful people, the big businessmen and women, they would tell you that they had to fail for 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 times before they hit the one thing that made them successful, before they hit the one thing that you now know them for. So that's one of the first lessons I want us to take from this. We are going to make mistakes because we are human beings. What you do with that mistake is what determines what happens after. See, we can decide to sit back and wallow in the mistake and beat ourselves up and say, oh God, we did this, we are horrible, we are this, we are that, or we are the other. But instead of doing that, I would strongly suggest that we think about the mistakes critically and learn from them. Determine what is the lesson that your Most High God wants you to learn from that mistake, whatever it may be. Now, some of them are tiny, tiny, and some are huge. And because we live in this wonderful island known as Tobago, all 116 square miles of it, where everybody is your mother, your father, your nene, your uncle, your cousin, your somebody who knows your mistake more than you, we tend to walk with our heads down after we've made the mistake. But the second thing I'm going to ask you to do is to ensure that you are never defined by those mistakes. You must be defined by what you do after learning from those mistakes. So the first thing, we're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. That's quite okay. The second thing, we must learn from our mistakes, and we must not be defined by our mistakes. And the third thing, promise you I'm not going to be long. The third thing we need to do is, I call it treating your triumphs and your tragedies exactly the same way. What do I mean by that? When we have triumphs, what is a triumph? What is a triumph? When something good happens, when we win, when something exciting happens to us. And what happens when something good happens? What do? You celebrate, you rejoice, you walk around with a smile on your face, you let everybody know this is what happened and I did it greatly and so forth. But what happens when we have tragedies? We sad, we down, we depressed. I am asking us, and when I say us, I really mean us, because it is something that I am also learning to do. To treat my triumphs the same way I think about myself positively, and I'm happy and I'm telling the world about it and so forth. Treat my tragedies the same way, where I know that this is a moment that is rising me up. This is a moment that is taking me out of something. This is a moment that is teaching me, because I needed to learn whatever that lesson was. And be joyous, be happy, be loving, be kind, be positive, be all of those things in the midst of the tragedies, the same way I am that way in the midst of the triumphs. Because you know what? We are all God's children. And she didn't make any mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes. Whatever you consider as the supreme being that is responsible for having you here did not make any mistake. Therefore, this process that you are going through is one designed for you. It is one designed to make you stronger. And I would encourage all of you, because just from looking at the summary, this is your story. And you are telling people about all of the things that we think should have kept you down. But you use them as stepping stones to build yourself to this point, where all of these young, old, and in-between people are now looking at you as an inspiration because you are one of us. And we are eternally proud. Mom, we are eternally proud. And we are thankful that you are allowing us to share in the glory of your daughter. We are thankful that you are allowing us to also learn from her lessons, because being a pastor's daughter, you know, the traditional thing is that you're supposed to be perfect and you're not supposed to make any mistakes, and heaven knows you should not write it so that the world will see. So thank you all for giving us this gift. Thank you for allowing Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago to experience this wonderful thing. And remember, what were the 3 lessons? We are humans, so we will make mistakes. That's fine. Second one, learn from your mistakes and don't allow anyone to define you by those mistakes. And the third one, treat your triumphs and your tragedies exactly the same, because you are God's child and God does not make mistakes. Thank you.